Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Dyste and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
Don't wanna be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new me. Can you hear the sound of a stereo?
Wow. That was a little bit more of an intro than I was expecting, to be completely honest with you. Well, welcome back to the First Dibs podcast from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs. I'm Justin, and I'm once again joined by Ted. Hey, thanks for coming back, Ted. We couldn't get Michelle on tonight. Well, we'll see. Let's see how things go here. So, tonight's going to be kind of a pretty cool, different show. So, John Dyste, right, as the title of our show, he's out. That's no surprise, right? He seems to take a lot of time off these days, but that's good for him.
He's on well-deserved vacation, somewhere warmer.
That's right, yes. I think I described it as the white, sandy parking lots of Orlando's Magic Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, been there. Good for you, John. But anyway, so no, this is going to be kind of a cool show. It's fun to have Ted sitting here because something that everybody should know about Ted is he's our general sales manager. He looks over the dealership, right, pretty much as a whole. He spends a ton of time with the new car ordering process and working with sales staff, all that stuff. Well, when it comes to ordering new cars, that's a process. I mean, and it needs to be very well orchestrated. There's a lot of time involved, and it's how to manage some of that, the expectations, what's to be set up. And then there's these things that we love when we build cars online that they call them paint to sample and European delivery. And so anybody that's going through to configure their car, they can just check those boxes, as if it's available to everybody that wants to do it. And the harsh reality is that it's not available to every single car that gets ordered out there. And so trying to describe some of that process gets a little bit confusing, but we're going to walk through some of that tonight. So that's awesome. But I guess before we kind of dive into that, it's snowing.
It's been snowing. So we didn't have we postponed the Macan launch party.
Yes.
That was supposed to happen last night. Mm-hmm. But it's been snowing for 3 days.
Right.
And so, yeah, we postponed it until next week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great point. So that's next Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30.
Yep, same time, same place, just next Thursday instead.
At the Coati in downtown Colorado Springs. Mm-hmm. Still looking forward to that event. That's going to be a good one.
We're going to make it bigger. So, yeah, because we only have a week to reschedule, we're going to do door prizes.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's $3,000 worth of door prizes inside the Macan.
You're welcome, Ricky.
Thanks, Ricky. Yeah.
That's awesome. I always love it when the Porsche dealership is giving stuff away. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. We did some You know what? I kind of joke around, but it's not really that funny of a joke. We sell a 911 on every snow day. We did today.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
I mean, the Speedster is a 911. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, 911 Turbo S, beautiful Oslo blue car. It's a First Dibs car.
Did he take them home?
No, they're sitting right behind.
Yeah. He just paid for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll let him. Yeah. We would advise take him when it's a little nicer outside.
I was telling Michelle, that's my wife. She's sitting here off camera, so if you hear, well, she's not going to giggle. She usually rolls her eyes, but that's really loud. But I was telling her about the hill from the lower dealership or the new car building to the CPO building. Mm-hmm. We have kind of a hill, and the favorite thing to do on snow days is to watch all the cars that can't make it up the hill.
Right.
So
exactly.
Tomorrow will be good for that. We'll have to get some popcorn.
Right. Yeah, it is a good show. Horsepower Hill. Everybody with a super loud exhaust has to give it wide open throttle as they go up the hill right here. So, yeah, no, tomorrow might be kind of interesting. It'll be fine. We're open. I mean, we're selling cars.
Yeah, well, come buy a 911. You can't take it home, but you can pay for it.
Right. We like that. We like that.
So we've got a couple of cars to talk about. You want to talk about the couple of used cars that we traded for? We don't have actual pictures because they're underneath a foot of snow. So I have we can use the configurator. I have pictures of.
All right, I'm gonna put this over there. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We got all your stuff here. Yes, look at that. It's a Spider RS.
Spider RS.
That's a pretty car.
This is a beautiful car. We built this car, and our customer enjoyed it for 1,400 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got it back, and now it's looking for a new home.
Yes. Come on here. Yeah, no, this car, 1,400 miles?
Yeah, 1,441 miles.
Man, he actually drove it? That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many of these, if they get traded back in, they've got 40 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's great. No, this one, yeah, like you mentioned, it started life new here. That's fantastic. That's a super cool car.
So it's the RS, and it's got the Visoc package.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the exposed hood. I like the interior. It's got the black and gray interior with deviated stitching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a great car.
Yeah, no, that's super nice. Let's see. I'm going to come back to just us here for a second. And then another car. It's probably not queued up here yet. But no, we got a super exciting. It's a paint to sample.
Right.
Albert Blue GT3 Touring.
GT3 Touring
With
Albert
PDK.
Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another car that we built new.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that car has less than 2,000 miles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and what's nice about that car has, I think it has 18-way seats.
Yeah, comfy
So
seats.
comfy seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a picture of it as well. But paint to sample online doesn't translate.
Right.
So it's but it's got those wheels. It's got the platinum wheels, ceramic brakes, PDK transmission,
Mm-hmm.
and a gray interior.
Yes.
So which looks really good with Albert Blue. The thing I like about I got to help build that car,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked him into Albert Blue because Albert Blue hasn't been an available paint to sample color forever.
Right.
And then the year we built this car, it became available. So we built a couple. Yeah, we built this Albert Blue Touring. Very nice.
Right. Yeah. No, that's super cool. I'm excited to see that car when there's no snow around.
I got to drive that car back to the dealership before it started snowing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. And
Right.
and so yeah, last week we talked about driving the GT3 on
Mhm.
the Autobahn, and so I might have wanted to figure
Right.
out the difference between the 2022 and
For
the
sure.
new one.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good. It feels a little bit more nimble. It feels lighter.
Mhm.
I think the new generation, it's got a different suspension. It's a little bit
Mhm.
lighter itself. So
Yeah.
and you could feel it.
Yeah.
It feels good.
That's awesome. And then the new GT3 coming out, as far as, I mean, some of the kind of key differences that you pick up on there, I think it's awesome that Porsche's, they're not reinventing the wheel necessarily. They change aerodynamics. I mean, they don't have to change a ton of horsepower. They change some things with suspension, transmission.
They evolve, right?
yeah.
They just
Mhm.
everything. Everything you touch has just been improved, right?
Mhm.
So like the nav system, there's nothing wrong with the nav system,
Mm-hmm.
but this one's faster,
Mm-hmm.
right? The suspension was really good. This one's better. Same thing. The efficiency's better,
Right.
right? So they improved the horsepower. So I guess they tweaked the engine
Mhm.
because of some European mandates.
Sure.
So, but it's got better fuel efficiency.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, everything's a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, people talk about particulate filters, like for emissions and stuff.
Mhm.
And so they're like, this car has 3 particulate filters. It's like, it's still badass.
Right.
Who
Right.
cares?
Well, it's got that and ion, or it's got
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
Right. No, the Albert Blue car is stunning. The white Spider RS is awesome. A couple weeks ago, we had received another Spider RS that's going through the CPO process. So we got some super cool GT cars that are coming available here
Is
very
that
soon.
the Arctic No, that's the vanadium one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great color. That's a really cool color. I thought it would be a little bit just, it's volcano gray replacement, but it's not. It's different. It's pretty different.
Yeah, it's got a different hue. It's got some blue in it.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
Very metallic. Very metallic. It really shines right out in the sunlight. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of purples and golds and blues.
I like with that one. It's got the on the top. It's got the deviated stitching.
Yeah.
That's something that they're doing now with with the convertible tops. It looks great.
Okay, so you mentioned convertible tops, and I mentioned this just the other day. Last week we weren't able to get to the new Carrera T that's coming out. So it's been announced for a little over a week now, and some of the what I think is pretty awesome, it's pretty amazing. It comes manual transmission only. There's no option for a PDK transmission. I mean, that's Porsche making a statement, I think pretty loudly there. But they're also offering it now in a convertible platform, not just a coupe. And so the topic that John and I were going to kind of get into is that personally, I'm not like a huge fan of the T having a convertible option. Whatever. I mean, that's just my own kind of viewpoint. The car is still going to be awesome. But then the more that I think about it, because they're not offering manual transmissions for 2026 kind of going forward, I think that's kind of a little bit of a cheater system, for someone that wants a Carrera Cabriolet, but they want a manual transmission. Well, they can't get it in a regular Carrera or, a 4S or something like that, but they could possibly get a T, right, with a manual transmission. So it kind of helps fill in maybe some of that void that might be missing.
Well, I think, in Europe, there's a lot of actually, I mean, a lot of places. Maybe it's just Colorado because it snows here. But I think the convertibles were very popular.
Yeah,
and the manual transmission, I think I've had 2 or 3, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It's nice to have. It's still a ton of horsepower, but when you compare the 911 to the S, or the GTS or the turbo, they're so overwhelming with power. That's why they went to the PDK,
right?
Because the transmissions, they just can't keep up with the power transfer. But the smaller, just like a classic car, right? Sometimes it's fun to ring out a car.
Yeah.
And you're not driving 150 miles an hour where it's 65 is legal. So yeah, I think the manual. I think there will always be a place for the manual.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. The T definitely holds kind of a special place for me. I think they made it to be an ideal touring car is what it's supposed to be. And when they first kind of came out with it a few years ago, the 2018s, I think is when that started. I mean, their statement was they wanted you to build that car a specific way. They wanted you to build it with a manual transmission. And they actually wanted you to put a back seat in it. Right. So they came out with the cool interiors. They gave these little subtle hints, to kind of Porsche nerds out there saying like, hey, really, we think if you go down this path, you'll really get the benefits of this car.
Well, with some cars like the Cayenne a few years ago, they had the Platinum Edition, or with the Cayman they had the Black Edition,
right?
And these are more of an appearance. Like the Black Edition came with a watch, and it came with a James Bond type suitcase, and
right.
Some cool decals on the outside. The T's always been for the enthusiast.
Yeah.
And I think that all the options around the T, it's meant for the Porsche enthusiast.
Yeah.
So a guy that's never owned a Porsche before maybe doesn't get it. But the guys that have been around for a while, they're like, oh wow, that's special.
Right. Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely.
Well, we have a classic. We have a customer with a 911T. That's in for service now.
Yeah. Is it the silver car you're talking about? Yeah.
That's car. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he knows, Matt. If you're listening, I'm waiting for you to call me. We would like that car in our stable.
Right.
So actually, I want that car in my stable. So, all right, call me Matt.
Right.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, keep going.
Oh no, yeah. No, it's a great car. So kind of somewhat of an easy segue into what we'll be talking about is you're helping me go through an order process right now for a client that's a referral, which is super awesome. It's a lady client, and in the last couple days, I've had some pretty amazing conversations with this person. It's all great. It's all good conversation. part of this good conversation is her describing some of the overall letdowns of trying to buy a nice car being a woman. So she's the car nerd, right? She's a car junkie.
Right.
At one period of time, not that long ago, she personally owned 54 cars
Oh, wow.
at one time.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work, right? My joke is that's a lot of battery maintenance.
Right.
right? And she laughs.
A lot of oil changes.
It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And there was a story around, how she acquired, all of these cars and since has sold them. And, but anyway, was referred here by a good friend that's become a good friend through another like really good friend of ours. And she was kind of confessing, to that friend, if you will, some of the frustrations. She's been driving an Audi RS3 for a couple of years, and to her, it's just boring, right? It's a nice car. It's a great car. It's fast, it looks good, but it's just boring. And when she saw the advertisement come out for the Carrera T and saw that they only offer it in a manual transmission, she said it clicked in her brain, that car is meant for me. That's what I want, right?
Good.
That's the car that I need. And so explaining her frustrations with her good friend, who is our good friend, saying, yeah, I really want this car, but I just don't know where to go. Can you help me find one? And fortunately, he said, you got to call these guys in Colorado Springs. What? Of all places. That's how it got started. And then from the first phone call, it's the intro, kind of getting to know you. Why do you want this car? What is it about it? And then it was a 45-minute phone call. And now I know a little bit about her history. Actually, she's kind of from Colorado, for a while. Business, all kinds of things. Cars. I think her ultimate, like, I would really love to have just for fun, just for kicks, is a 67 Eldorado.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the year that it was. And that just kind of stuck out. Like, that's kind of funny, but everyone has their own reasons for stuff. But anyway, we got super lucky, right? She's looking for a specific car, and it just so happened that we had this allocation available to take.
She's getting one of our first ones.
Yes. She'd already built the car multiple times. She'd never really been through the Porsche configurator seriously before, but this time she found out what most people find out is it's a little daunting, at first when you open it up, say, I've got a million different possibilities here. I have no idea what I'm doing.
It is so much easier now than it was 10 years ago. When I was a sales guy, I would do it with a spreadsheet. We'd print out a 50-page ordering guide, and then we would input it using there was no pictures.
Right.
And so like the fear that you were going to do something wrong, or, you get a response back because this option didn't work with that option, or this option was delayed.
Yep.
The new system actually, there's still a lot of options, but it's nice that you can walk through it and it'll help.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, so getting to know this lady, and then looking at the car that she had configured. She built a couple of them, but we just started with the one that she'd liked the most so far, so we could run through it. And the only real changes were like thinking of potential color options or something, but nothing real radical. Going through the list, and it's a question.
Can we look at it? Here, hold
yeah.
on. Let me pull it up, and then
Absolutely.
before we.
And but going through the list with her, people always ask similar questions, when you're going through this process. Kind of some of the top questions that come to mind are, is there anything you're noticing I'm leaving out?
Right.
That's something that always gets asked.
Or the way they ask me, what's wrong with this car?
Yeah, right, yeah.
What's this car
wrong?
missing?
What's it missing? Is there anything else you would do to it? Is there anything that I shouldn't be doing to it? Everybody asks similar questions, like that, which is great because this is what we do, right? We see every one of these that come through here, and every one of them is different. Everyone's unique.
Well, somebody had said that if you were to take all the available options on a 911, there's literally a million ways you can build a 911.
Sure.
And not counting paint to sample, not counting the special wishes program.
Right.
Just through the configurator. That's a lot of options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This, and we'll get into it here, but this specific one, this was the second one in a row that I noticed that she didn't check off the extended range fuel tank. So I had to, for the 2 people in a row, I said, for $200, whatever, 230 or 280, whatever it is, I highly recommend. And because I didn't know how big of a difference an extended range fuel tank
makes a
makes
huge
in your
difference.
life until driving a car that didn't have it.
So I had a 911S, 2023, I guess it was, right? With extended range. I got over 500 miles of range, which tells you I kind of drive like a wuss. Because once I broke it in and I went to sport, all right, my range went, but it was still 475 miles in range. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I joke around my Ford Ranger, my 99 Ford Ranger. It has a tiny fuel tank. It actually gets fairly decent fuel mileage for being what it is. But I stop to fill up minimum 2 times a week, right? Just driving to and from work. But it's just because it's not because of the fuel mileage, right? It's because the tank is
little
so
tank,
small.
right? Well, back then that was I had a Jeep Wrangler that when we lived in Seattle, and I had to every third day I had to put gas in it because the tank was so small,
Right.
And like I came in, I went to fill up and went in the gas station. And goes, "Hey Ted, how are you?" I'm like,
Right.
"Whoa." We don't need to be on it.
Yeah.
I'm in here too much.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah. So
That's awesome.
So yeah, here's a funny story. So I traded that Jeep Wrangler. This is when I first started with Porsche in 2004. So I traded that Jeep Wrangler in for my first Porsche, which was a Cayman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Better fuel economy, more storage, better in the snow. These are all the excuses I told my wife, right? But it's true. I mean, versus the Jeep Wrangler.
That's funny.
So here's the man. Look at this car.
All right. Okay. I'm going to kick us over here. Excellent. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you what I really, really like about this car. One, it's a Carrera T. That's cool. Like I said, I'm kind of partial to these cars. I love them. Two, as we were going through this list and when she was saying, asking the questions of, is there anything that I left off? Is there anything that I shouldn't do? Going through the list of this car, this is what a Carrera T should be. And then there's some sport goodies though. Like you'll notice this one has the, what do you call it? The kit, the exterior sport design.
Sport design. Yeah. Look at the front bumpers.
Yeah. So that gives it kind of a GTS presence.
Right.
But this is a driver car, right? So manual transmission, that's the only option, right? But there's nothing super crazy over the top extra frills with this car. There's no BS, right? There's no excuses on it. We did fit it with the cool technology for safety features like night vision, adaptive cruise and lane change assist, that stuff. But when it's got the sport goodies, piece for it. But it's not killed with 8 cows of leather, all kinds of stuff, that's in there. I think it's just an awesome example of what a Carrera T should be. That's a super cool view.
Yeah. So this is the regular website. So if you go to Porsche.com and you go try to build your car, this is the new 360 view.
I like it.
The rendering. I mean,
look at that.
Look at those wheels.
Yeah. Well, look at the lighting. You get to see. So this is GT Silver.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great color. And then all of the black finishes are in like the matte black finish. And then exclusive design taillights on this car. So it's very monochromatic, right? Everything is black, silver and black and gray. I think they've got the lights on or something in that, or maybe they just don't do it in that version. But
yeah, I don't know how to turn the lights off.
But no,
how about that?
Yeah, no, that is super cool. That is really, I like that. I think that's going to be a gorgeous car. And then, so talking to her today, because she received the track your dream,
Track My Dream
email, saying like, hey, that's awesome. This is so cool, right? I'm going to get set up with this, and then explaining time dates and stuff. That stuff can change, right? That's not a quoted thing by any means. But we'll kind of continue through this process. And then I threw in there, like we had talked about before, is this gives us a freeze date, right? Is when we have to have everything chosen for this car has to be locked in by a certain time. But I'm going to bring that forward, right? So in this car, January 31st is the freeze date. I said, but tell you what, on our calendar, both of our calendars, we're going to have a thing on there that says January 15th.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot make any changes after January 15th. So I'll get a reminder, weeks in advance. Hey, look, everything's good. Even today, the response was, no, I love how this car is. I can't think of any changes. Trust me.
Well, I think that's half the fun of. Okay, so only in the United States, right? And I think part of it's culture, and a lot of it's just the way cars are sold in the United States, right? That you go to a dealership, and there has to be a field of cars that you can choose from, and you can take it today. But Porsche historically, it really is. You get one. Right, you work your entire life, and you save and you save and you save and you achieve, and then you go buy one.
Right.
And so the experience of going to the dealership in Germany is you go and you place your order, and really you've spent years trying to figure out which one you want.
Sure.
So waiting, for the car to be built, and presented to you.
Right.
I mean, that's half the experience. Here, I think the fastest you could build a car is like 4 to 6 months.
Sure.
And that's quick.
That's very quick.
But in our culture, they want it yesterday. And I do too. We're all very patient, but I think there's something when we're building a car. To your question, the person says, what's this car missing, or what's wrong with this car? I like to say, we'll go through and we'll answer all the questions and make sure that the car is exactly right. But there isn't a wrong answer. And I think the mistake of building a car is when you build it for the next person.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, I'm going to put this option and this option and this option on it because, for resale. And I think, a Porsche, especially when you make it special, that actually, that's, like with mine, I don't want a sunroof. I don't. I like the way that it looks without the sunroof. I think it's clean. I don't use a sunroof.
Right.
So, but I was always worried when I build them for the dealership, gosh, they all have to have a sunroof and they all have to have.
Right.
Well, the reality is they don't. Right. I know John likes to talk about, a car with a rear windshield wiper.
Yeah, right.
That's the sign of a,
right.
a true enthusiast.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the sign of a guy that lives where it rains. So it's, but yeah. So I think making the car unique to you, and that's when you go through and look at the options, there's always 4 or 5 options that nobody needs.
Yeah.
Well, here's the truth. Nobody needs a Porsche. Right. You know it. I know it. Customer knows it. So to have the conversation then, now we really can celebrate it. I think it's, I'm looking through this order. This is cool. Look at that interior. She's got the red seatbelt.
Yeah, the red belts.
Are those 18-way seats?
They're 4-way.
No, they're 18-way.
Are they checked off 18?
18-way.
Oh, I'm thinking of another car.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to look up another car, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum of this car. So
yeah, nice car.
No, this is a great car.
What's her first name?
The
Your customer?
The customer.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
nice car.
Yes, this is a great car.
We approve.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah, yeah, super excited for this. And it's coming. It should be delivered hopefully April-May timeframe. Which come on, that's
look.
perfect.
Should we? Yeah, we can look.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, well, it's the first one. So, okay, you also need to tell her whenever there's the first one, they get stuck at port, right? So whenever a new model comes out, on the same ship as the first cars for the rest of the dealerships, is the car that's tested for the EPA. And people have asked, well, why do I have to wait? Why is my car held up? I go, well, it's the government.
Yeah, right.
That should be enough. But so the government has to test the car, make sure that it's compliant and meets all its standards. Porsche is, the other way to do it is we hold all the cars in Germany
Mm-hmm.
and ship, because they're building all the cars at the same time. So the car that they pick for the EPA,
Mm-hmm.
they can't send it ahead,
Right.
because then now the entire world is delayed 3 months.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's something good for her to know. So, but she'll probably see in the Track My Dream app.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they give her a range.
Yeah.
So the car will be delivered sometime between April and July.
Yeah. It's like a 2-month span. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, no, this is a great car. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the customer. I'm gonna ditch the screen so you can find. Okay, now this is the conversation piece. Okay, this is for the people out there that are wondering, what do you mean? It says paint to sample. I ordered it. How come I can't have it? Do you mind looking up a car that is? It would be the first name would be Chance.
what kind of car is it?
It's a new GTS, 2025 GTS. It'll be a order demand.
Oh, it's okay. What am I looking at?
So we're gonna pull up the build, so we can see what they've put together. And this is why I say this is interesting conversation, because not only does this have the
Does he listen to this podcast?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Depending on the answers that. Yeah.
So,
I love being
but,
surprised.
But we've
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about all that. Like, this is difficult. Like, this is threading a needle, to find the right allocation time frame. So, this car, it's paint to sample, and Euro delivery. Yeah. So, which. I mean, but that's why we want to set the expectation, right? It's like this. Can it happen? Yes. As long as everything lines up and we do everything in the right order, and you might have to wait. Like it's
Right.
it's possible. People do it. So, but it's setting a real world expectation of how it and how it all comes together,
Right.
and why it's so difficult.
Right.
So once. Is that the car?
Yeah. Here,
All right.
let's look at it. Give me just a second here. I'm going to pull it up on the
Mm-hmm.
regular website.
It's
So paint to sample. Well, okay. So the first problem is it's a GTS.
Yep.
Right. The GTS was just introduced. There's this huge demand for the car. It's a low production car, and so the first thing we need to figure out is if we can get him one. Right. So, and we've talked about him. He's patient. So that's good.
Yep.
If you're patient, right? Like back to the story with it's my only one, right?
Yep.
It's I saved up my whole life. I might as well get what I want.
Yep.
If you have that attitude, great. If you have a planned trip for March 15th,
Right.
that's
Rent a car.
right. That's kind of a problem, right? So, so the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we can get him an allocation. Right. So they give us allocations quarterly. So once a quarter, based on our how many cars that we've sold the last rolling 12 months, we get a percentage. So let's say Porsche gets or the United States gets 1,000. Well, okay, 100.
Yeah.
911.
Yeah.
Right. We get maybe 1% of that. Right. So and then they divide that up. Because it's not 100. Anyway, so we get a number of that, and it'll be spaced out. So today, like in November, we're going to get cars that are going to be built in March and April, right?
Right.
And then in January, they're going to give us some cars that are going to be built in April, and then May and June, right? And then so you can see that already, right? If a person wants to go in March, and they're just meeting us for the first time, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. What are the chances?
Right. Yeah. Not good.
Right. Well, right. So that's the first thing, right? And then so that's the car itself, and then there's a schedule with European delivery.
Right.
So same company, different division, right? For European delivery in the United States, if you wanted to take delivery at Stuttgart, I think it's like 1 day a week.
Yeah. Right.
So 1 day a
Right.
week, they have the English speaking delivery team.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a Thursday or a Friday. And so so you can imagine if it's only 1 day a week,
Right.
it's often it's booked out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think I reached out to European Delivery, and they're already taking reservations for like May. And so I go, well, my cars are being built in March.
Right.
How can I make an arrangement for May
Right.
if they're built in March? And I don't know what's going to be built in May.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, well, let us know if there's any other questions. Okay. And then the third one is paint to sample.
Right.
So paint to sample is, they only do paint to sample certain times throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have to have a GTS allocation. I got to do paint to sample allocation.
Yeah.
European delivery allocation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. Is it possible? Yes. I totally recommend it. Right. That was last week. We talked.
Yep.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should do it.
Yeah.
But be patient.
Mm-hmm.
So and then also there's a very short window.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to take delivery of a sports car. Well, I guess you can. But in December, it snows. It's cold over there,
Right.
and so so you don't want to take. I don't know if you want a brand new car in a foreign country. You don't speak the language, and you don't really you don't know where you are. Whereas they're saying now that you shouldn't take delivery European delivery, and take your car out of the EU. So apparently there's been problems.
Interesting.
Like you leave the EU, and then you try to get back in, and they won't let you.
Wow.
And so there's a notice online that says if you leave the EU
Right.
with your European delivery car and you can't get back in, we told you so. There's not a telephone number.
Right.
It's we told you so. Don't do it. Right.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So is it yes? So if you're patient and we'll do whatever we can to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's worth it. So
No, for sure.
so I've pulled this car up.
Cool. I'm gonna swing it over.
Look at that thing.
Oh, it's super. What's the name of the color? Is it Nashi? I think it's Nashi blue. It's very.
Oh, it's loading.
It looks like Gulf blue. It's kind of similar.
Nash. I've never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wanted to show you while that's loading. There's a couple of websites that are, before when you wanted to do paint to sample, you Google search the color.
Right.
Right.
The Renbow.
Now that's a very good site to use. Actually, the website, the configurator does it.
Yeah.
But before Renbow, and that's what I'm showing right now. Before that came out. It was Google search image, and then I hope that color's right.
Right.
And it wasn't photoshopped, and,
Right.
But so that's a good source. The other one that I think is good for folks to use is this. It's colors.rs.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so that one, So
That's pretty cool.
let's see if we can find.
Nashi. I think that's what it's called, Nashi. Yeah. Someone asked me. Said, "Are you sure?" I said, I think that's what it says.
That's what it. Who's that? Is that John? Arguing
Happy
from
Friday,
Florida?
folks.
No.
Oh my gosh, someone's actually commenting here. Oh, yeah. Well, our buddy Dan is watching and he's commenting on YouTube for the people that are able to watch this.
Yes, it's right there. Nashi blue.
Yeah. No, yeah, Dan did not do European delivery because his car came in the wintertime. So good idea.
Yeah, but I mean, there are other things, right? So, I mean, if you can do European delivery, it's fantastic. It's a good experience. But I mean, you could just go over there, right?
Yeah.
You could just go over there. You can rent a car, right? I think the cost for European delivery is $2,500.
That's okay. So that's something else that popped up is that there's a cost for it on the configurator, where before it was a no cost option.
Well, there was it was
costing the dealership
years ago. It was $3,000-$4,000
Right.
charged the customer.
Right.
But if you buy a Volvo, they'll sell it to you for like nothing, and they'll pay for your airfare, and they'll put you up for like a week. I don't know. It was like some crazy amount, right? And then I could buy a Volvo. I go, well, yeah, but then you have to buy a Volvo. Yeah.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, John. Yeah. So, and I think BMW had a program where the car was discounted also.
Right.
You know, and so Porsche does listen to its customers,
Mm-hmm.
and so they said, okay, fine, we won't charge you, and then they just charge the dealer.
Right.
So, good solution. Right?
Our kickback, if I understand right, our kickback for doing the Euro delivery, for taking that charge, was that we would get another allocation, with the exception of if it was a GT car.
So if you took delivery of a Boxster, Boxster S, European delivery,
Right.
then sometime in the future we would earn another allocation,
Right.
and then that would go to pay for
Offset.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that
Whatever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now the new program is now they're charging the customers for some money.
Okay.
So and part of that is like when maybe it's the same philosophy as the dealership, right? Whenever we throw a party, there's no charge.
Right.
Right. And then there's like a bunch of people that it happens actually when we send an invite out for a drive or an event or a cocktail party,
Right.
People just know they fill up quick.
Yeah.
So they just jump in and RSVP.
Yeah.
And then they figure out what the date is and if they have plans, and then they ask their spouses,
Right.
and then, so and some of them, actually a lot of our customers will then say, just kidding, and then and cancel the thing, right? So, but what we found is like, especially on these drives, when we do these drives, there's a cost, right? Because we want to, celebrate and have fun, and we'll buy lunch, and we get, we get prizes, and I mean, there's a lot of times like when we do the Royal Gorge Drive,
Right.
there's a cost to drive across the bridge, but we don't charge our customers,
Right.
But we found when we do that, then people just don't show up, but I still have to pay for the ticket,
Right.
So if we charge a little bit, right, then it matters, right? So maybe that's some of this, right? So because along with the new rules, or with the new charge, there's lots of, beware that if you sign up for it for the same reason, if they can only do, let's say, 10 European deliveries in a day, and 3 people don't show up,
Right.
Well, now somebody over there has prepped the car, somebody's ready to do the delivery, somebody's ready to do the tour, right. I mean, I think if you do European delivery, they give you a nice meal in one of their restaurants, right, and it's a really nice restaurant, right. So I mean, there's an expense that so it's not just they're charging you to make you go. I mean, they're actually giving the money back in an experience. And I think the worst thing is you cancel. And now somebody else doesn't have an opportunity. Right.
Yep.
So we just talked about how hard it is to get.
Yep.
And then you cancel, and you don't think it's a big deal. Well, I mean, you just kind of smash the whole program.
Right.
So,
yep. Exactly. This car, I think, is
this thing with the wing.
really cool. Really, really cool. I love the silver wheels. I love they left the ceramics with yellow brakes. Right, instead of changing them to black, just because it fits this car, it fits the color so well.
Oh man, look at the inside.
Yeah, they did the sport design package, or the aero kit. They did the full aero kit package, so it's got the big wing. The inside. So he tied the inside with the outside, putting in the yellow gauges and the seat belts. 930 leather package.
Look at those new seats.
Those are sweet.
I love the way that they have two-tone on the seats, and how on the shoulders. You see the darker.
Yes.
Is that blue?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
It's night blue, I think is the name of the color, with chalk, two-tone night blue and chalk. It's really cool. It is really, really cool. I mean, look at that. You kidding me? You see that car parked, on the street somewhere, you're gonna look. You're gonna stop. You're gonna say, "Whoa."
Well, the
carbon roof.
Yeah, look at the carbon roof.
Motorsport stripe.
It goes all the way across the roof and over the wing too. Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Yellow seatbelts with the ceramic brakes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, it's pretty obvious to me that this couple they design stuff. I mean, they're into it, like, because there's nothing about this car that's been overlooked, right?
Look, it's got carbon fiber on the sport design package.
Yep. Yeah. So the only questions that kind of were left is we'd really like to do the leather wrapped steering column, except if we select that option using the configurator, it makes us change. I think it's the seats. So this is the one that has I believe this is the sport seats, just
Right.
the 4-way sport seats, if I
Right.
remember.
Well, that's where I come in.
Correct.
So yeah, so if a lot of times when a customer will go home and they'll configure it, and then they'll come to the dealership with questions, right? And one of those questions is, what am I missing? And then and sometimes, well, the new engineering of this configurator, it's not a mistake.
Sure. Right. Right.
So but an exception can be made.
Right.
And so then what I would do is I would email my counterpart at the factory, and we would work through, and that adds another. Great. That adds
time.
another.
Yeah.
So if this car has to enter special wishes,
Right.
they only do that a certain percentage,
Sure.
of the year too. So, but no, that's okay. This will be fun to work on.
Oh, totally. Yeah, this is a really, really neat car. This is another, there's a theme here. There's a lot of business coming our way, right? And this couple, they're not new to the dealership. They're familiar with us. They were actually here for the Gold Rush Rally. They joined. The dealership was the halfway pickup point for
Are
that
you still
year.
showing the video?
We're on your computer.
Okay. I have pictures from the gold. I wonder, wouldn't that be funny if I had pictures of them from the Gold Rush?
Oh, that would be pretty hysterical.
That was my first big event. Oh, I don't know. What year was that? Were you here? You were here for that one.
Oh yeah. That was 2017, maybe 2016. It was early.
So before Joe brought the Gold Rush Rally to Colorado Springs, I mean, I had seen them on social media,
Yeah.
but I don't really pay attention to that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
And to see those cars,
You know what? If you look at the dealership's YouTube page, there's a Gold Rush video, and that'll tell you the date. But the Gold Rush Rally was a pretty unique event.
right? I remember one of the guys. We were lining the cars up, and the guy says, "Hey, can I do a donut in your parking lot?" No. Where's Joe? I go, yeah, you need to go talk to Joe. Do a donut in the parking lot. So they just did a donut on the street. Yeah, that's fine. That's not. I don't have any control over the seat. I'm not a. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because there were guys that showed up early, like a day or two early, and they were just wreaking havoc. Just here minutes. It's minutes at a time. But no, the people were awesome. They were really cool, and
that was actually a really good event.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun with those cars, and
well, and being the halfway pickup point, everybody was here, right? So there, half the crew did from the start to the halfway, right, to here, and then the others joined here, and then went the rest of the way. But some people drove to this point and then they left after here.
Right.
So this is the only stop that they made where all the participants were in one location. I mean, that's awesome, right? But anyway, so this couple, they were on that Gold Rush Rally tour. They were driving an LFA, which
dude, you know what I'm doing? I'm showing like the whole world all my cars.
no, they can't see this.
They can't see it?
No.
Okay, well, how about show them that one?
That's a pretty impressive shot right there. Those 911Rs.
We are so fortunate. We were talking about that before the show started, that I was looking through the just random photos from the dealership. Yeah, where else in the world are you going to see 5 911Rs?
Right.
All parked in the, and then, well, yeah, that was awesome.
Here, I'll pause. Oh, yeah.
You're okay.
So they came. So this couple flew in the other day to sit down in person. Well, they wanted to kind of just walk to the dealership, and revisit and see what we have for current inventory. But the big primary thing was sit down in person, go over what they built online, and then get the process started, right? Which I think is awesome. That's the right way to do it. I've talked about this before. I don't know if it was really on the show. I'm sure I talk about everything on the show, but certainly here at the dealership once in a while, we're talking about European delivery. Absolutely. I think everybody should do it if they can, if they get the opportunity. Joe Brenner has a great story. He had been with Porsche for quite a while before he went to Germany for the first time. And he said it wasn't until that point when he went to Germany, the Stuttgart area, that everything didn't necessarily click, right? Until he went there. So he knew all the different pieces, the different arms, of the brand and the story and all that. But it was hard to connect, some of the dots with there. But once you're at the Porsche Platz, right, and you're at the museum and the factory and you see everything that's happening around town, he said everything just clicked for him. It all made sense. And he said, wow, this is awesome. I mean, this is why I came here, was to discover this.
Right.
Porsche Colorado Springs is the European delivery experience for North America, right? We have business all over the U.S., some of it out of country, right? If we could get a percentage of the 80% of the business that we do out of the state to come here to the dealership to actually take delivery or do the process,
well,
we're the delivery experience.
Why aren't you doing that?
We're trying. We're trying. It's hard.
We do it. So I'm from Idaho. I grew up in Idaho, and I have some customers that live in Idaho that we still see each other. We're still friends, and so one really nice experience is, whether it's a new car, used car, right? You can buy a car from us. You can fly in right over the hill. So about a half a mile from here is the Broadmoor Resort, which is the 5-star, 5-diamond resort. So that's a nice weekend. So I've done that, right? So you fly in, put them up in the Broadmoor, which is starts the experience off. You come over here, you pick up your cool car, and if you do it in the summertime, you drive it home. The roads are awesome. Yeah. So I mean, why? Yeah, and you don't have to worry about going out of the EU, and they're not going to give you a car. So,
right. Yeah. I think and I was describing this to Lupe, actually our salesperson, just the other day, saying this is the full experience, right? Unless they get to come here to the store, it doesn't click for them 100% why they're doing business here. But once they're here in person and they meet John and they meet Ted and they meet Joe and they see the ridiculous inventory and the setting that we're in, it all will make sense. And they'll say, this is why I'm doing
I think
business
the trouble
here.
with bigger cities is that, it's a job, right? I mean, I think that's true in a lot of industries, right? But in a big city, you're kind of a number. And I think we know here for sure that, the stuff that we have, nobody needs.
Yeah, right.
And that's not, I'm not being a jerk. I'm just, nobody needs a GT4 cup car, right? I mean, nobody needs a DLS Singer.
Right, yeah.
Right? Nobody needs a pink Taycan, right?
Yeah.
And there isn't a car in this building. But there's not a car in this building that I don't want, though.
Right. Yeah.
So and I think our guys get that. I think Joe gets that. I think Don, our owner, gets that. I think you get that. And I think if we can just, there's something about saying, I know you don't need it, and I know that it's expensive, but you're worth it, right? And I feel the same way. I work a lot, so that when I can go out and have fun, right? Or I can, enjoy a nice car. Yeah, I'm rewarding myself, and I think if you can, it changes the conversation. Oh yeah. And when we're building a car, it's the same way. Yeah. Nobody needs a painted key because you're just gonna drop it and chip the paint, and we just have to get another one of the parts department. But it's fun, right? Yeah. So nobody needs to do these special things. But the fact that you can and you can celebrate yourself, that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love it. I think it's super cool. And like going through configurations like these two cars is an awesome example, is that you can keep it simple, right? It's still awesome no matter what. It doesn't matter what you build. It's awesome any way that you do it. And it can be as simple and low key as you want it, or it can be grand and as ridiculous as you want it. And you can, and anything in between there, right? It's customized to you.
Right.
To exactly what you want. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
So on that note, I know that we're getting near the end here. What we were supposed to do tonight. Yeah. And so I'll just leave this. We'll start this program. So I would like for you and John to experience and share with the podcast viewers, right? The whole
four of them.
process. The 4 of them that are live and the 3,000 of them that that Colin said.
Right.
John told me I can. What was Nancy a few months ago?
Oh man.
Right. So I listen. I goof off with you guys throughout the day, so I don't listen to all the podcasts when they're live. But when I'm traveling, I listen to them. There was one that with a simulator. Hey, none of us know how to use this simulator, but if you come down and ask for Ted, so Nancy, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So, so what I would like to do is we're gonna give you a car. We're gonna give you a special car, and I think maybe you pick. You can do a Spider RS or a GT4 RS.
Ooh.
Right. So pick one. Let me know. I'll put it in your name.
Okay.
Right. So the things that is as soon as we put your name on the car.
Yeah.
Right. You get an email.
Yep.
So your client that just placed the order for the key, as soon as we put her name on it, Porsche fires off an email and tells her, this is the last date to build it. This is when it'll be here. Right. So it's, it happens very quick.
Yep.
But what she doesn't know is that whenever it goes to the next milestone, she'll get an email. She clicks on it. On her phone, it'll say, yeah, your car is going through the paint booth.
Right.
Your car's completed production. Hey, here's a picture of your car when it came out of the paint booth. How cool is that?
That's awesome. Same
thing, and it gives her all the step all along the way. And so we'll do that in your name, and then you can share it, you guys and maybe, within reason, everybody can have some kind of an idea of how we build the car, right? So if you want to do paint to sample, now for the next 2 years, you can talk about that every week on your podcast.
Right.
So,
oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. Oh, I'm gonna show that one. Boom! Look at that car. Was that mint green?
That is mint green.
Man. I remember that car.
Yeah, so within reason, well, a mint green Spider RS.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So
we'd do a custom door plate that says Haagen-Dazs.
No, so I think so you can customize the door sill, and we can let's put your logo on there.
Oh, the first. What?
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
We can do first dibs. So we can do something like that, or we can talk about. I think the door sill would probably be better. We could press it in the leather.
Yeah, in the leather.
But then you sell it to Ohio, and
you can never tell that Michelle has done any of this at home. Like she's like. She's saying it before you get there. Yeah. It's super funny. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh. A first dibs. Wow.
Yes, First Dibs edition.
Did you know that we have First Dibs podcast stickers on the Brumos car?
Yeah,
the model.
Yeah, on that. Well, you had them on the actual car,
on the actual car,
which I think is way cooler than.
But they showed up on the model. Yeah. Do we have comments? Oh, let's get rid of your all your private.
Oh, I don't care. There's nothing on there.
Yeah, it's funny. No, that's awesome. We had Shift Magazine. Those guys chimed in today. We got Jason. Mentioned Saab also used to offer a Euro delivery program. I remember hearing about some of that stuff. I know European car companies have offered programs like that. I think it's a fascinating feature that you can, try and get done.
Well, yeah, just spending time and seeing, where your car, where it was birthed.
Yeah.
Right. And the history and the culture and the people. I mean, it's not hard to understand why they do that because once you go through that process, I mean, you'll never you'll never want to do anything different.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So I personally we'll just go over there and rent one, and then it's their rock chip, it's their windshield, it's their insurance, right? And then take delivery of your car in LA and drive it on the racetrack.
And you can do the Porsche drive through Porsche in Germany. Is that right? There's a
Yes. Through you can. You're saying, can you rent a car from Porsche?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's an awesome alternative, right? So if we have to deliver the news, like it's going to be 3 years, before we can do this European, it's hey, but Tell you what, though, we can order the car. We can get the car that you've been dreaming of, right? Since you were 6 years old. In the meantime, let's plan a trip, for you to go over there,
Right.
get a car from Porsche, drive it, get that whole experience. But like you say, you'll put their rock chips and their paint, all that stuff. And then you don't have to worry about it being shipped over or anything like that. It's go enjoy your time. And then when your dream car shows up, here it is.
Yeah, or go over there, take the tour, have a great vacation, and then have the car delivered, in Atlanta,
Right.
And then make a trip back, doing that, or in L.A. and do it. Yeah, what a great. We've done that. We've actually had several customers, in Colorado. So you pick the car up in L.A. And you spend a weekend in L.A. because that's enough, and then get out, and then you go to Las Vegas. Right? Yeah. You make up some of your money that you paid on the car, or not,
or not. Yeah.
Right, and then from Las Vegas, driving it back to Colorado. What a great week!
Good trip.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yep.
So we got all kinds of ways that we can help out, and we want to. So, do you have anything else?
Nope.
I think that's been a lot. That's
been
awesome. This is great content. Everybody's learning something.
You know what we should do, and what you guys, smash that like button, fellas. Right? Is that that's for my daughter. She says I'm old when I say that. So, but no,
Right?
you should on these comments on the YouTube. If you've got questions or ideas, of things that you guys can talk about, let us know.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think that's great. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I definitely, I really, really appreciate the people that continue to support this program. It's a ton of fun. It's definitely a passion project, I think it's become a really fun project for the whole store in a way, because everybody here is involved with it in some way or another. And anyway, so John and I, we obviously get a kick out of it. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. And so, but we wouldn't do it just for ourselves necessarily. Well, we might, but it's really fun to share it with everybody else out there. So awesome. All right. Well, for the First Dibs podcast from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, I'm Justin. Thank you so much, Ted, and Offsite Michelle, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, Jason says like and subscribe.
And
Yeah, Jason.
Perfect.
Hey, send us your address, Jason. I'll send you a T-shirt.
There you go.
Maybe don't put it on.
Yeah, maybe don't put it on YouTube.
Yeah, figure out how to get us your address, and we'll send you a T-shirt.
All right.